Hello everyone, welcome to this video where I'm going to be teaching you how you can create a server in Node.js, a server environment runtime. And in this video I'm going to take you through steps of creating a server in Node.js, and whether you're a beginner or you're an expert, so this video is going to guide you through how to create a server in Node.js. So without any further ado, let's get started. So before we start, you need to make sure you have two things installed on your machine. So the first one is you need to make sure you have Node.js installed on your machine, and the second, you need to make sure you have a text editor installed on your machine. So feel free to use any text editor, Atom, VS Code, but for this tutorial I'm going to be using VS Code on my machine. So let's get started. So let's create our project folder. So I'm going to go to my desktop here. You can see I'm in my desktop here. So I'm going to create a folder. So I'm going to name this folder Node, or let's name it Node server. I'm going to hit enter. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to right click and open with Visual Studio Code. So that should open up our Visual Studio Code. So basically now what we're going to do now is to create a server in Node.js. You need to install a package, an npm package called Express. And how do you do that? So basically what I'm going to do is that I'm going to connect to the internet, and I'm going to install a package called Express. So I'm going to open up my terminal. So make sure your computer is connected to the internet before you can install Express. So I'm going to open up my terminal, and I'm going to, first of all, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to initialize my project folder. So I'm going to say npm init-y. Then this -y is to ignore all the all the requirements. So that should, you can see now we have a package.json here. You can see package.json with nothing. You can just ignore everything. So now what we're going to do next is, after ignoring everything, so we accept the default settings rather. So now what we're going to do next is, now we need to install Express. I'm going to say npm hi, I'm going to say Express. So I'm going to hit enter. So now that should install Express in our project. So now the other package that we have to install is called Nodemon, but I'm going to pause that for now. So we're going to install Nodemon later. So I'm going to show you why you need Nodemon later. So now first of all, I'm going to clear the terminal, and now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a file. I'm going to name it index.js, and inside index.js what I'm going to do now is I'm going to import Express using the common JS method. So I'm going to const express. Then I'm going to say this Express, I'm going to use require, so that's a mistake, require and Express. Good. So now what I'm going to do next is that now this require statement returns back a function. So we're going to call that function and get our app instance. I'm going to say const app. Then I'm going to say Express. I'll call the function. You can say I call the function. So basically after calling this function, we get an app instance, like an app object. So in that app object we have a method that we're interested in, and the method is called listen. I'm going to say app.listen. That is, we want to listen to any request. So basically we want to listen on a particular port. So you have to listen to a port, like you have to listen to a port rather. So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to name it that port. So I'm going to equate to process.env, that is process. We have our node server is currently running .environment. I'm going to say port, like this. So if we don't have this, I'm going to use or 3030. Then I'm going to pass in the port as the first argument to the listing method. Then the next time I'm going to pass in is a callback function. So this callback function gets called immediately we are connected. Immediately the server starts listening on that port. So I'm going to say connected. Immediately we start our server. I'm going to log out. Console.log. Let's say connected to ports 3030. So that should, so we're going to see that in the console immediately we start our app. So this is already the basic setups for creating a server. So let's start our server. I'm going to say, if you say node index, you see, connected to port 3030. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to create a kind of like a middleware. We call it the middleware in Node. We got middleware. So middleware are kind of like middleman. So they stand in the middle. So basically they stand in the middle waiting for any request that comes through. So basically we're going to say app.get. That means I'm waiting at the middle, waiting for any request, as is any get request. Any get request that matches this route, which is, this is like the route, the route path. So any request that matches this path. So I'm gonna say now the next thing this function accept is a callback function, and the callback function is basically has 2 arguments, a rec and a res. So basically this rec and res are going to be passed, they're like objects that are going to be get passed inside of this callback function whenever the user hits this endpoint, hits this route. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use, oh sorry, I did that. So I'm going to do this out function. Then I'm going to use res, that is when I send back a response. I'm going to say res.send. So basically, if you want to know every information about the request that just came in, you can just set in the rec. Like let's say you want to know the parameters, like what the parameters we have in the the body of the request, the params of the request. We can just check inside the request objects here. The request object here. So for now, we just want to send a response, and the response I just want to send. I want to send a response called welcome to this API. As simple as that. Welcome to this API. So what I'm going to do now is immediately I say welcome to this API. So what I'm going to do next is we'll do it. So basically, I think I've done this. So you can see I'm connecting to a wrong port. I think port 30. But basically, I have to restart the server. I have to clear and restart the server. I'm going to say node index again and hit enter, and basically that should, if I refresh, you can see welcome to this API. So what just happened is, we started the server the other time, and basically whenever you make a change, you have to restart the server again for everything, for the changes you make to reflect. So basically that's why we have to restart the server, and we're going to fix that later on. So now if we want to fix that, what can you use to fix that? We're going to use an npm package called Nodemon. Remember the Nodemon I told you about? So Nodemon. So basically Nodemon allows you not to terminate the current the current instance that's going, allows you not to terminate this. Basically Nodemon restart your server for you. So that's what Nodemon does. So I'm going to install Nodemon using npm hi. I'm going to say Nodemon like this and hit enter. So basically this should install Nodemon for us in our project. So immediately Nodemon is done installing. So now if you want to start up your project this time around, instead of using Nodemon, instead of using Node rather, I'm going to use Nodemon. I'm saying Nodemon. So I'm saying Nodemon index, and that should just, you can see, restart the server. So basically if I come here and I do let's come here back again and I hit enter, you can see what happens. So let's change something. It still works. Let's say we change this from welcome to this API, or welcome to my world WORLD, my world. Then if I go back to the browser and I refresh, you can see it changes. I don't have to, like before, we don't have to, terminate the server and open it up again. So basically, let's say we want to get some things about the request that just came in. So let's say we want to say app, that you can design another, another route again. I'm saying app.get, just like the first one, but this time around, let's say I want a user to give us like an ID or something. So let's say we want a user to give us something like that. So I'm going to say we're going to use / like this, ID like this. Let's say you want to go get an ID from the user. This is the pattern you have to follow. So basically, after I do this, see the same pattern here. You pass in a callback function. The callback function have a res argument and a res parameter and a res. So and you do like this. Then I'm going to say res.send. So let's say I want to get some information about this. Whatever ID the user sent, I want to get the ID, what they sent back to me. So I'm going to say, I can say let ID, I can destructure that ID to be equals to rec, that is the request dot params. So basically this is a request dot params, and this is an object. So I'm destructuring from that request dot params the ID from it, and you're going to see that in a different. So let's say I use the template later here, and I'm going to say this is your ID. So I'm going to say this is your ID. Then I'm going to use the normal template later, and I'm going to put the ID here like this. So now if a user, you can see my server have to just restart by itself. I don't have to terminate the current instance and run it again. So I'm going to say if I send an ID here, if I say / and let's say I do this, I say 1 hit enter, you can see it says this is your ID on 1. So now we've been sending tests back and forth. So let's say I want to send HTML. Let's say on this route here I want to send back HTML instead of this. So I'm going to cancel this and do like this. Then I'm going to send HTML h1. I can say HTML, just put your HTML in strings, and I can say this, let me just say welcome to my app and hit enter. So save rather. Then if I come here, you can see if I do a refresh, so sorry, we are still on the ID, so let's remove the ID and enter. You can see welcome to my app. So you want to be sure that this is an HTML, just have to right click, inspect. So you can use this icon over here and just inspect on it. Boom. So you can see it's telling you that it's an H1 right here. You can see, so let's take this down. Let's take this down. Oh good. You can see this is just an ID, just a simple ID, simple as that. So you can see the H1 here, welcome to my app, and as simple as that, that's how. So this is everything you need to know about how to create a server in Node.js using Express. So basically I hope you enjoyed the video. So basically if you have any question, you can comment it down in the comment section, and make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe. Thank you.